It is exactly at 21 after 6 o'clock, and welcome to the Hive. And this is where we discuss all things business, especially for those getting into business or just started business. It's also a good show for if you are now a long time into business, because we discuss all those things that make your business grow. So we've discussed a couple of things: business discipline. We've discussed customer service. We've also discussed marketing, which is what we did last week. So tonight, what we said we will discuss is business growth through hard work and reading. And so tonight in the studio, I have no stranger to Capi Talk at all. He's been here before. That's a Blessing Mandipira. Good evening, Blessing, and welcome.
Good morning, Mkoma. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Very
and
well.
It's great to have you once again in studio.
Thank you so much.
So we decided, Blessing, that while we know that there's physical work that can be done to make sure that you succeed, but we also feel that there is a part of you that needs to feed your brain, your attitude, and everything that surrounds just feeding how you react to certain things. We do know that a lot of people will invest capital. We've spoken about customer service. We spoke about marketing last week. We still have a lot more to discuss. But we also know that something that holds people back is how they view themselves, what they put into themselves to make sure that they succeed. And a lot of it has to do with attitude. And that's where you come in as a motivational speaker. So tonight, we want to make sure that we speak to that business person. A lot is going on in the country at the moment, but we want to still tell people that they can succeed. So tonight, we want to look at business growth through putting in the hard work and also reading. I did say that it's a culture that a lot of us have doubted if it's in the right place in Zimbabwe. But you will tell us. You're an expert there. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. And I totally agree with you that one of the things we must be able to do as people in business is the ability to develop our minds. Mm-hmm. The quality of your thinking determines what happens in your business. And the only way to grow is obviously to delve into great books that are written by successful men and women in business. When I was introduced to this aspect in 2012, that's like 7 years ago, a certain man called Brian Tracy taught me a principle that I like to pass on to everybody who wants to grow and to become a meaningful entity on this planet. The ability to grow your mindset. And he said, did you know that if you were to read one book per week, in 4 weeks you would have read at least 4 books? Now, if you are disciplined and you have a great attitude to growing and to becoming better and to developing yourself, you will realize that if you're consistent for the next 52 weeks, which is a year, you would have read 52 books in 1 year. Now in America, they say an average only one person, only I think 10% of the people in there read. They have the ability to open a book and at least grow themselves and read. And I asked myself, what of Africa or Zimbabwe? If many people in America are not reading that much. But the greatest thing that I learned from that is that if you read one book per week, and in 4 weeks you would have read 4 books, in 52 weeks, which is a year, you would have read 52 books. They say that according to the University of Pennsylvania, in America, you would have read at least 52 books in a year, which is equivalent to somebody who has a doctorate. Now, when I learned that, I discovered that I should never have any excuse of why I should not grow. Now, you have so many people who will tell you that I possibly didn't do what I needed to do or grow my business because I don't have a university degree. I don't have that. And it's a culture that is not correct. The culture to be simply talking about what you don't have. What is it that you can do with what you have? And obviously with techniques and methods that have been proved by successful men and women in terms of growth. When I learned that, I started growing my own mind. And for 5 years, I was quite consistent in terms of reading one book per week. I said if I don't leave any materials for my family when I'm gone, at least they'll have a minimum of 1,000 books in my library. Because there's power in reading. My life has changed because of that. I don't have a degree. I tell people, and I'm not embarrassed to say that, I don't have a degree. I'm doing a degree now as a result of the fact that I believe in continuous education. But I did not want scholastic education to stop me from pursuing my dream. And I learned from the University of Life that you can still become a meaningful someone if you inculcate a culture of reading. So one of the best books that I've personally read is from Brian Tracy, called The 31 Unbreakable Laws of Business Success. And I can never forget that when I read that book, lots of scales were removed from my eyes and I started seeing business from a different perspective. He talks about pursuing what you love. It's a principle of life. Once you pursue something that you love, something that you enjoy, you will never work. I coach, I train every day. I'm in front of an audience, I'm in front of people. I have patients coming through to be trained in public speaking because I consider them to be my patients, you know. And I can wake up at 12 a.m. because somebody is looking for help in terms of their speech for the next day, for the next conference, for the next workshop. So when you do what you love, and as a result of the passion and the zeal and the drive for something that you feel you signed up on the planet for, and you growing your mind, there's nothing that will definitely stand in your way. So reading is a critical component to anybody who would like to become a successful someone.
It's interesting that you spoke about doing your passion. And even from the expressions on your face, it shows that you love reading. Is it not therefore a gift for some people to be able to love reading, while some people are not gifted with the love of reading? Basically what I'm saying is, the same way somebody like Knowledge Msona is gifted in his feet and the judgment on the field, I am not. Probably my gift is what I'm doing now. Is it not the same with reading, or reading is treated differently? How does someone who does not have the passion to read become a lover of books?
I totally believe that passion can be developed for anything. Yes, you will discover that there is a possibility for all of us to become better in what we do, because we have the desire and we have the interest and we have the hunger to grow and to become better. You see, even Knowledge Musona, as much as he's gifted, okay, I'm sure by reading the greats like Pele, he can always better himself in terms of skills and learning from other greats as well. So reading is supposed to be for all of us. As long as you want to grow and you want to be better, I cannot imagine Strive Masiwa not being a reader. I cannot imagine Warren Buffett not being a reader. In fact, he talks about it in one of his books, The Warren Buffett Way, that I encourage you to obviously indulge in reading. He reads on marketing, he reads on that, he reads on investments, he reads on accounting, he reads on everything, because it's knowledge that will help you to grow. How do you become a better person if you're not willing to read? What will you share? Where will you get the ideas to run your business successfully if you think you're the only one who knows so much? There's so much more you can gain from other people's experiences, those that have achieved, their mistakes that they have made. You can always learn from reading.
We're with Blessing Mandipira, and we want to speak to anyone who's serious about getting into business, or they've just gotten into business but they want to do things the right way. We always want to speak to entrepreneurs, because we've got lots of those right now in Zimbabwe, and some of them are falling by the wayside. Some of them are making mistakes. They want to get up again. Some of them, well, they're doubting. And some of them don't know where to get the information. And this is why we said, let's bring the issue of reading. Now, Blessing, you've been here before, and you were speaking about your journey, where you started and how you ended up actually being a motivational speaker. But I would like to just go back a little bit to a brief of your history, to a point where you started reading yourself. What made you start reading?
You remember very well, I think I spoke about it, that I used to be a gardener when I failed my O-levels. My grandmother had no choice but to chase me away from home because she said I had humiliated her and she wasn't happy about the results that I got when I wrote my O-levels. So when I found myself at this other church, Cranbourne Community Church to be specific, and a certain lady called Farirai Katungera introduced me to reading. She said to me as well that, Blessing, I'll never give you money, but what I'll give you are books. So she said, I will invest in buying some books for you. And one of the books that she introduced me to was from Dr. Miles Monroe, who wrote a book called Maximize Your Potential. And as much as I had failed then, because of reading such kind of material, it changed my perception, the way I saw myself, my attitude, my self-esteem increased, my self-confidence went on a higher pedestal, and I started treating myself differently.
Was this just from the book?
Yes, yes. Why are books necessary? They are necessary because we live in a world that is quite negative. Very, very negative. And a place where you can get motivation and inspiration and encouragement is when you delve into books that have written by men who have been through thick and thin. When you listen to the history of Dr. Miles Monroe, he is late now, but he was such a great man on issues to do with leadership and potential. And when you listen to the kind of content and you read the kind of content that they have written, there's no way you will remain the same person. You have no option but to grow and to be better. So you cannot afford to think about committing suicide, even though challenges are real in our country. You cannot think about doing things in a way that doesn't represent the values that you carry for yourself. You cannot think about quitting. I love one of the quotes that I personally got from reading called, life is like fighting a gorilla. You don't quit when you're tired. You quit when the gorilla is dead. Where did I get that from? I got it from reading. And you know what that does? It fortifies my mind. So no matter how hard or how bad it gets, I know deep inside I have the capacity to get out of any situation that seems to be insurmountable. So there is no way you can think about thoughts that will want to draw you back and obviously kill your drive to want to succeed. Even when things are hard, even when things are tough, even when it's looking bleak and it's looking bad, you have the potential to change the situation around. I was speaking to a certain leader today. He's one of the top executives in our country. And this gentleman said to me, do you know what? I have my son. My son is about 41 years old. I have a farm. I have so many cows. He is looking after the farm. And I tell him, maximize on this farm. The son has got a family, but here is a son at 41 who still has the guts to call me as his dad to buy him pills for BP. And I said, I'm not giving him anything. Ndati kama mukaka kufahamu work. Young people of today are not willing to be dirty. Vanoda kutangira padenga to be successful. It doesn't work like that. Tinotangira pasi after you have graduated even from school. Your ability to be humble and to be willing to start from down there, from the ground, going up, is what will help you even to stay right at the top. But the graduate of today would like to be given a fancy car, drive a Mac at the age of 25 after just completing university in a Pavura Goro or something like that. They're not willing to be humble enough to start from down there and grow their way up. As long as we are not willing to change, things will never change.
Let's talk about the issue of putting hard work, because obviously reading is hard work, especially for a lot of people. When you think about reading, it's a lot of work. Some of the books, when you just look at it, and here you are talking about reading a book per week. Now we do know that those motivational books, especially the business related books, large volumes, and some of them come in lots of volumes, volume 1, volume 2, and here you are saying read at least one book per week. It's already hard work, but that's not the hard work I'm talking about. We've spoken about reading, we'll go back to it, but just the hard work, putting in the hard work to make sure that your business grows. You already started talking about it, that some people want a quick buck. They just want to quickly grow and be successful. But let's talk about putting in the hard work. You started off and you said that you failed your O levels. We obviously want to think that you then put in a lot of hard work into making sure that today you stand proud as a renowned motivational speaker who's a lot of motivational people and inspirational successful people have gone through your hands. What would you say about putting in hard work, and how much work do you actually put for you to consider yourself one day to be a successful person?
It's everything. Hard work is everything. I can never forget at one point in time I was watching a video from Muhammad Ali, who is one of the greatest boxers that ever lived on the planet. And this gentleman was asked a question, when do you stop? When do you stop working out when you're doing press-ups? He said, ndichinge ndaneta. At that point in time when I really feel like I've been used, I'm totally exhausted. I learned a great lesson from that until my body can't take anything more, that's the time I'll decide to rest.
That's the time to stop.
Yes. As long as you are not willing to do that. I mean, somebody said, this guy called Les Brown said, die empty. And the reason why he speaks about that is because he realized that many people are not willing to be used up when they go. We have talents, we have gifts, we have abilities, we have capabilities. God has given us so much. Are we willing to die empty? I like to use this illustration. Can you imagine on that day when you are definitely on your deathbed and you are surrounded with all these gifts and talents and things that you could have done, and they are pointing fingers at you and asking you a question, telling you that we came to you and only you had the ability to give us life, but now we have to die with you. How would that make you feel?
Wow.
You're on that deathbed and you are gasping for air, and this is your time to leave this planet.
And your talents speak to you. Wow.
How would that make you feel? When you think like that, you have no time to be casual. You have no time to waste. You have no time to find yourself in conversations that are not meaningful. You have no time for gossiping. Square Marino Garapa drain at 45, at 50, at 25, at 20. That's a big mistake you can ever make for yourself. So I like to challenge people to begin to take seriously. I tell people, be seriously serious. Be seriously serious, because kune vanhu vasiri serious. Kune vanhu vasiri serious. Angori ne seriousness yekublema vamwe nekublema mamwe institutions nekublema zvimwe zvinhu. They never take responsibility for their own life. They are not willing to do anything with what they have. All that they have is a million excuses why they cannot achieve what they should achieve. Not to think about only one good reason why they should do what they should do in order for them to get what they want. So the thinking must change. The quality of your mind must change. And it cannot change if you're not willing to push yourself, to persevere, to persist, to be a hard-working individual. With what I do today, I never thought I had the capacity to do it. I didn't know I could do this. I remember at one point in time when I was actually starting, and people would ask me, what do you do? I said, I'm a speech coach. And then the MC would ask again, is there anything else you do? Because they are thinking I'm a joke. Yeah, they didn't understand. They couldn't see the picture clearly. But today, they understand. what I
Wow.
do.
That story that you're speaking about, Kuti, is there anything else that you do? I think, unfortunately, in our country, a lot of artists actually face that. Guys who are into music, into sculpture, into drawing, a lot of people then ask that question, what else do you do? Because for them, it can't be serious. So you got those questions as well.
Exactly. And I tell people you can't see the picture when you're not when you're in the frame. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. There are people who are boxed. They can't see clearly. They can't believe that somebody can actually make a meaningful work around what they do, whether somebody's a musician, whether they're an artist, whatever they do, whatever it is that they do, it has got the capacity to give them money. We have people that are wearing suits every day, but they have nothing in their pockets. We have people who are dirty every day. Wanapfeka ma overalls, wanapinda ma mines, wanapinda msango. And my man, when you hear about their bank accounts, unozoona kuti vakomana chinonzi kushanda chiko, chinonzi kushanda chiko, chinonzi kushanda gona kushandisa knowledge yawe nayo. Mariri chipinda mu account. Usanyari ne basa rako. Don't be ashamed with what you do.
Yeah.
Today people have so much respect with what I do. I've been to the Brook. I never thought one day I'll be asked to come through and train people from the Brook. Previous curtain.
So let's talk about that. Let's not assume that people know your story. Let's talk about that. How hard have you worked? Let's not start from Muriguchikoro, but let's start from Ipa Papa Zagaramba. When you failed.
Yes.
I think that's the best way to put it. We cannot hide around it. What happened? How did you fail?
Well, number one, I think I also failed not necessarily because I wasn't intelligent or I didn't have the capacity to pass. I think I failed because I was playing. I wasn't disciplined. I wasn't pushing myself. I didn't know what it meant for me to be a well-educated someone and to work hard. So lack of discipline, obviously, yakandikwadza. But then I had to rewrite. And when I did that, I passed because now I knew exactly what I wanted to do and what I wanted to become. I knew kuti ngovone certificate o level, ngorone maninga akakwana. Zvingori right. Zvingori right ngovone ne certificate o level, zvingori right. And I decided to go for my A levels. I did my A levels in Ripa Church. And I wrote my A levels. Not exactly the kind of points I would have loved to have, but I passed. And before I knew it, I definitely then found myself for an interview at Gateway Primary School. They wanted what they call gap year teachers, and Ms. Drigbeck, who was the headmaster there during that time, said to me, Blessing, we don't usually take children that come from a B school. I had gone to Cranbourne Boys Eye, but he said there's something different about you. And I think he was talking about hard work. I don't know. Just thinking. But I you know, when you're coming from a background where you know you don't have anything, and people who would join hands to support you, buy you groceries, when you're coming from the grassroots, uchiziva kuti hauna baba hauna amai, uchinyatsoziva kuti mbuya vako, you had to make ends meet for her to take you to that school Cranbourne Boys Eye vachitengesa pamusika nematomatoes, unochinja maitiro nemafungiro.
Blessing, I want to find out. We got some questions here coming through on Facebook, but before we even tackle that, for me, I see that there's, I don't know whether we want to call it a thin line or a thick line, or I don't know, but a lot of people have said that their backgrounds have inspired them, which is what you're talking about. You're coming from a background where you have nothing, as the world would describe it, and you were inspired by that. You're not the first person that we've heard saying that. But then again, in the same vein, some people have given up because of their background. They feel that because andina kumba kwedu hakuna kumbovira kwaitika anything. Why should I be the first one? Because I'm coming from a background where I have none. So you have two groups of people here. Some who are inspired by their background to do better. Some who are then killed by their background to say, what can become of me with this background? How do you break that impasse?
it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. I train very important persons in our country today. I've trained government officials, I train MPs, I train CEOs, I train professionals, I train accountants, I train lawyers in the art of public speaking. And one thing that holds people back is their history, their past. Regardless of how even successful somebody has become, you still hear them saying, Blessing, you know what, I'm going to do my presentations, my conferences, but something that is holding me back, hey, background yangu. Like mission school, I didn't go to a private school. And I ask a question. Who went to a private school? Yeah, I'm going to private school. Now, when you have that kind of thinking, handiti, yekuziva kuti regardless of, in spite of, no matter what, no matter my background, no matter what I didn't have, I have the capacity to change my destiny. I've got the capacity to rewrite or to write a new story about myself. So one of the things that I teach people when I'm dealing with public speaking or even in interview coaching, I teach people on what I call the psychology of public speaking. And all that I'm doing is to rewire the thinking. Vanhu vari in chains, very degreed, vanhu ma MBA, my doctors, even professors. People are chained. I see it, public speaking. I see it. He is a very, immaculate gentleman who seemed to have achieved everything that he so wanted in life. But when it comes to audiences, I don't feel like I cannot do this. It's the thinking, it's the software. So you're only liberated if you're willing to think differently. Remember, you say to me, Blessing, issues of attitude. It's everything. It's everything. I was reading a book called The Spirit of Leadership from Dr. Miles Monroe, and in that book he talks about the attitude of a lion. He talks about the fact that the lion is not the fastest animal in the jungle. It is not the strongest animal in the jungle. It is not the wisest animal in the jungle.
Okay. Okay.
It is not even the biggest or the tallest animal, the heaviest animal in the jungle, but it leads. What is it? Why is it like that? Attitude, mentality, the thinking. You see, I told you I'm not degreed, but I find myself coaching these kinds of men, these kinds of people. Do you know, I could have said myself, because I don't have this, because I don't have that, because I don't have that, how will I be able to coach an MD, a corporate leader?
It brings me then to a question, because we're trying to break these chains. I like the fact that you've already used the name chains. A lot of people are sitting on their talents. A lot of people did not know about that issue. Make it your point to die empty. Wow, I absolutely love that one. I love it. I want to make it my point. Because no matter how much you might view me, I still feel that there's a lot more that I can do that I'm sitting on.
True.
And a lot of the things, I'm talking about myself now.
Yes.
And not as an example, I'm talking about my real self. That there's so many possibilities that I am sitting on right now.
True.
What else can I do? So I like the fact that you brought out this thing of dying empty. But I was going to ask another question. Are these things not meant for certain people? Izitshenda kuna blessing, izitshenda kuna miles, izitshenda kuna strive, izitshenda kunani. Are they not certain people? Because that's another thing that draws us back.
True.
To say,
And that is the biggest challenge. It all boils down to the quality of our thinking. One point in time, I was asked to come through on television. This gentleman is asking me a question. He says, Blessing, is it really possible for you to teach people how to speak? Are you telling me that you can actually teach somebody how to speak well? I feel that somebody has got to be born with an X factor. He called it the X factor. And I asked him a question, and the question was, do you think I was born with an X factor? He said, Blessing, how can you ask me such a question? It's obvious. I said, wait a minute. You should have been there the first day I stood up to speak, and my mind sat down.
Okay, you stood up
to speak.
Okay.
And to prove that, after delivering my presentation, it didn't even last. I was given about 5 to 7 minutes. I didn't last for 3 minutes. And this lady who came up to at least give me some pointers said to me, Blessing, I don't think you're cut out for speaking, and considering your height, I have a suggestion. Why don't you try basketball?
Zvazvaramba.
Zvazvaramba. Zvaika zviri obvious, zviri kuoneka pamberi pevanhu kuti aiwa zvimo. But you know what kept me going? Books. I'd read a book from Dr. John Maxwell called Failing Forward.
Failing?
Forward.
Okay.
Failing Forward. And I had listened to a man called Les Brown who said someone's opinion about you should never become your reality. These are the people that liberated me. And I carry myself with a sense of dignity. When I get to the platform, no matter who is in there, I don't care. I'm not going to be intimidated by somebody. No matter their titles, I have reverence. I have respect for them. But you know what? I'm not going to feel inferior simply because I don't have that. No. People ask me, who qualified you to do what you do? I said, I qualified myself. Can I tell you another story? Some doctor from one of our universities asked me to meet him by Kafenush, Avondale. He said to me, Blessing, I am looking for a coach in public speaking. He said, can we meet there in the next 1 hour? I showed up. In 30 minutes, I was there. So I met him. He said to me, Blessing, can you tell me about your credentials? What did you do? I said, nothing. He said, come again? I said, are you talking about having gone to one of our universities and being degreed and possibly having an MBA? I said, exactly, that's what I'm talking about. I said, Doc, I don't have anything of that sort. He said, so do you know somebody who can help me in public speaking? Because I need someone who is quite refined in terms of their credentials. Yeah. I said, of course, Doc. I know plenty of people that I think have the capacity and the ability to help you. But if you're talking about public speaking, I'm sure you're also very aware that at our universities, there is no degree in public speaking. I've been looking for that. UZ does not have it. MSU does not have it. NAS does not have it. I'm looking for that. He said, I want to be taught how to communicate, how to stand before a crowd and mesmerize and dazzle my audience. His language was quite flowery. I said, if you're talking about public speaking, I can help you. But because you need someone who has got an MBA, I have people who are professors, who are doctors, that I can refer you to. I can give you their numbers. He said, thank you, Blessing. Thank you. Can I just have at least 2 or 3? I said, I have over more than 10 people that I can give to you. So I gave him a couple of numbers from professors and doctors that I had assisted in the art of public speaking. He called them, and after about 2, 3, 4 days, he called me back. You know what? He was told to come back by professors, by doctors, by people who have it all. But when it comes to public speaking, they asked him to come back. You see, the point that I'm only trying to make is that you have no reason at all to disqualify yourself.
All right, Blessing, due to lack of time, we just 5 minutes to go. You were speaking about the lion, and you're also speaking about yourself just now. I think we need to do justice to Mills Manda, who says, how can I grow my business in a field with large, trusted, big brands? Apart from price advantage, how else can I make a name for my business?
This is what I think. When I got into the motivational business, there were big names still there. Number one, I spoke about obviously doing something that you definitely love, because then you are able to exude excellence. Excellence is a level that is gotten by people who love what they do. They truly have a passion for that. You want to get into a business where you're passionate about it. So excellence is one of the qualities that are critical in order for you to grow your own brand, to grow yourself. That's number one. Number two, learn from your competitors. You see, every business at one point in time was a small business. Mm-hmm. Every business. Every name was once a small name. Every big name was once a small name. And when you have that kind of thinking, there's no way you can be stopped from growing your own business. So exude excellence in what you do, be good at what you do, and you know what? People are willing to come to your doorstep and give you more business.
Mm-hmm. How do I get myself to start reading if I'm one of those people who does not have that culture at all?
It's simple. Go into a bookshop, Innovate Bookshop, my lovely bookshop where I also shop my books. Go there. Just buy yourself one book. Don't start by reading one book per week. Start just one book per month. Maintain the discipline yokuverenga bhuku rimwe chete pamwedzi wega wega until gore rapera. Patinozopedza gore unenge wane passion, unenge wakuzvida, zvinenge zvakunakidza, and uchiona mabenefits acho anobatika.
Munhu wese anosvika here panguva yakuti akabata bhuku otonzwa maziso akurema after 2 pages or so.
Yes.
And can someone get over that?
You can. Kunenge kujimuka. Kunenge kujimu. Ukambonawo here kuti ukaenda kujimu zuva rekutanga unogona kungoti rega ndisiyane nazvo. But ukadzokera kechitu nenyaya discipline, nenyaya attitude, positive attitude and a strong mentality. Ukadzokera kechitu, ukadzokera kechi3, kechi4, kechi5, kechi6 zvakukunakidza.
Where do we buy these things? Strong mentality, right attitude? Because I don't think zvinongonongwa. I don't think you can pick those things up. Where do we get it?
Nambotaura ini ndati kuinnovate.
No, not the books. I'm talking about these things that you're talking about, could the right attitude and whatnot. I can't pick them off the street. You say it like it's very easy for me kuti ndaremerwa nemaziso ekuverenga. Zvinoita kunge zvichangoya the right attitude, like you're saying about the gym. Mangwana ndarwadziwa. I can give up forever. Ndarwadziwa. Where do I get that push?
Very simple. Think about your associations. Surround yourself with people that are willing to see you grow and to become better. Kuverenga, joinowo vari kuverenga. Mukamboona ino kuti vane mari vanoda kutamba nevane mari. Mukambozviona kuti vanotaura chirungu chakanaka vanoda kuswerawo nevanotaura chirungu chakanaka. Now it's very easy. Iwewe kana uchiziva kuti une weakness yakati and unoda kuimprove, kune vanhu unoziva kuti vanogona, kune godfathers in this particular area. Come on, ask for mentorship. Associate yourself with these people, and before you know it, you are becoming just like them. It's easy, simple, but people are not willing to do it. Ndopangori nyaya, ndopainofira nyaya ipapo. Vana havana shungu dzekuzviita, discipline yacho ishoma.
For more from Blessing, how do people get in touch? Because we're just about to go to the news.
Thank you very much. Obviously, you can give me a call on 0778-716-405, or you can visit us at 226 Sherwood Avondale West at the School of Public Speaking, or you can also find us on Facebook, Blessing Speaks Unlimited. Yes.
With Blessing Mandipira is a motivational speaker. Today we're talking to business people because we feel that this is an element that is missing. You might have the capital, you might even have read the books, the degrees that you were talking about, but if that element of the right mindset is missing, I really want to say bravely, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not qualified to say this, but because I've walked certain roads, I do know that if you don't have the right mindset, you might just be going nowhere. Blessing, thank you very much for coming.
Bless you. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Leander.
It's been great.
Excellent.
This has been The Hive. We're back again next week. Otherwise, stay tuned to Capitalk. Listening to Capitalk, 100.4 FM, Harare's Heartbeat. 7 o'clock is time for the news with Gwen.
News on Capitalk, 100.4 FM, Harare's Heartbeat.
First Lady Ms. Auxilia Mnangagwa today launched a National Day of Prayer, which has been attended by President Emmerson Mnangagwa, Vice President Kembo Mohadi, government officials, and more than 300 leaders from various church denominations at State House in Harare today. Now addressing during the launch,